All right, guys, I know that I've been talking a lot about the Kenworth. This is our 2002 W900. This had a Cummins Signature 600 in it when we got it. It was a lavenderish pink. I don't know how else to say the name. I don't know what color it was. It was ugly. It was all like peeling up top like they do, and it just looked awful. So we repainted the truck a couple years back. We swapped out the engine. And I believe I made a YouTube video on that. I cannot remember. Anyways, right now what we got going on here is we have most of this back half stripped and we're getting ready to sandblast and paint the back half of this frame. This had a Rigmaster APU on it. We're not going to use it. It wasn't running right. It was old. We're probably going to put like a green APU on or something. I'll probably make a video on that. Had a deck plate. We took that off. I'm about to torch the bolts off here, or the big hucks, whatever you want to call them, for the fifth wheel. We're going to take the fifth wheel off. All the bushings are being replaced. It's basically going to be a new back end. So we have a new spring and air ride up front. Engine, transmission, and clutch was just put in before the other engine blew up. And then everything back here is going to be new. So this is going to be like a new truck when we're done with it. It's going to be really nice. The other things we have to take off yet are the light bars, which I'm not sure if I'm going to put these ones back on, and I'd like to do like a nice center bar back here, so I'm not sure. I'm going to take them off. I want to rewire everything anyways, clean it up a little bit. So we're going to take those off, take the fifth wheel off, pull it outside to start degreasing it, because it's a lot easier to sandblast when there's not grease built up and caked up everywhere. Oh, and I'm going to take the shocks off before we do that, and then when it's all said and done, we'll put new shocks on. I'm kind of concerned where this is leaking. I put new rear ends in this truck also. So Dad was like, well, you probably left some nuts loose like you normally do. So I checked them all. They're all tight like they should be. So I don't know why this is getting all wet up here. I'm afraid a lot of times these things will rust and get a little pinhole. After we degrease it, we're going to be able to figure that out. So yeah, stick around to the end of this video. I'm going to show you some clips of us degreasing it, sandblasting it, painting it. Probably do a time lapse of me painting it. I don't know. We'll find out. You guys will find out. And then I'll do like a complete walk around tour of the truck when it's done at the end of this video, which it's never done. Every time I say that this truck is close to done, we add another 25 things to the list. So yeah, we'll do a ride along and all that cool stuff. We do have a good tune in it. I got a tune from Matt Rich. So this thing runs extremely good. So let's get right into it. Okay, last update before we actually sandblast. We decided that we're going to change out all 8 bags. They aren't that bad. There's like 3 of them that are showing a little bit of weathering issues. So we decided we're just going to change all 8 of them while it's apart and easy to do. Because these things here are a pain in the butt with tires on. Anyways, that's the update. And I got crab rangoons. Sam's Club ones. But they're fairly good. Yeah, let's get into it, guys. All right, guys. Yesterday was a little colder than we would have liked it to be for sandblasting, and we were running behind, so we didn't get it sandblasted. We're gonna sandblast it today, though. Here it is. We took pretty much everything off that we want to take off that had rust in between brackets and frame or whatever. Knocked all the rust off with a needle scaler before we pressure washed it, because it just makes it so much easier to sandblast if you're not trying to take off layers of rust. This frame is pretty rough. It's not the prettiest frame in the world. but it's not the worst. I mean, I've seen way worse. Thankfully, this area is pretty smooth here that we're gonna see. It's by all means not a show-worthy frame, but that's not what this truck's for. We're just trying to extend the life of it. This is gonna help it go a lot longer without piles of rust everywhere. Like, we go into places like that and knock all the rust off that we can. And like back here, these brackets that get bolted on for your air valves and stuff for your brakes, we take all those loose, knock all the rust out in between those. So that way it's a lot easier to sandblast. Here's the fifth wheel. Normally I separate the angle iron here from the top plate, but this thing literally doesn't have any rust in between it. So I didn't see any reason in doing that. The only thing I do have to do yet is I want to flip this thing upside down. See all this rust buildup up in here? We'll knock all that off before we sandblast. So what I'm gonna do right now, this morning, is I'm gonna go around and anywhere that there is an air hookup, like for the airbags or whatnot have you, I'm gonna go ahead and tape all those shut. I'm gonna cover the back of the truck, cover the fuel tanks, all that good stuff. I'm gonna get the pot out here, fill it up with sand, and get it ready for my brother to sandblast, because I sandblast once in a while, but I'm not feeling the best and my allergies kill me whenever I sandblast. So I'm gonna get it all prepped. He's gonna sandblast and I'll paint it. So it's all gonna work out in the end. So I took all the clamps off all the way up to here. I forgot these clamps here. I'm gonna spin these off also right now. And then we'll like wrap a bungee strap around that and pull it back so we can sandblast behind all those hoses without hitting them too much. And then we'll put new clamps in, because these ones are all rusty and messed up. We don't want to put those back in. Plus we can clean up the wiring. This truck was a mess when we bought it with the wiring and hoses, so I'm gonna go along and straighten everything out nice and clean like. Forgot to show you my warmed up cup of creamer. All right, guys, it's Monday morning. We got this thing sandblasted and rolled in here last week. Today's goal, as long as nobody shows up with any drama with our other trucks, today's goal will be painting this. We're gonna try and get this thing painted today. There's a couple things that I need to go over before we think about painting it though. So we're gonna have to get these brackets and up in here a little better before I can paint. And as far as the frame goes, from the back of the bunk to where the fenders are, the frame is actually pretty smooth. There's a couple divots here and there, so we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit of filler in that. That'll be fine putting filler in there. The stuff back through here, sadly, I'm just gonna leave it be. It'll be better for it in the long run to just leave it and paint over it with some good sealer, paint it, get it all sealed back up. You know, and we're gonna stop the rusting at least. I need to go around and tape everything shut again. We had some towels, paper towel shoved up in there so that way we wouldn't get any sand up in the pipes, but we could still get the, what do you call that? The nut part of the fitting, I don't know. Sandblast it so it looks good. So I gotta seal that stuff back up. There's a couple other little things I need to seal up. I'm gonna go through any wiring issues that I have now. I wanna fix now so everything's zip tied in place so it looks proper once it's done being painted. Yeah, we just gotta go around and do some more prepping. And I think it was just seeping out right here. Look at this. There's like a weird notch in this rear end. I don't know what that's about, but there's oil seeping right there again. So this whole thing was covered in oil. I'm gonna assume that's where it was coming from. So before I paint it while it's all fresh, bare metal, I'm probably gonna try and get that sealed up. Anyways, we're gonna do some more prepping, then make a couple videos of me painting. We're gonna go ahead and start the truck and get the brake, well, we're gonna jack it up, take the wheels off and take all the brake drums off. I thought you guys would enjoy a 65-degree cold start. Oh my gosh, look at all this sand that came out of these drums. Now I know somebody in the comments section is gonna be like, excuse me, this is not a professional job. You should have took the brake drums and shoes off when you sandblasted. Well, we don't like to do that because what it usually ends up happening is you get wheel seals that go out then. Every time you do that, we end up with wheel seals that go out. So, if anything, I probably should have took these drums off out there in the lean-to before I brought it into my paint booth. But this is a truck paint booth, and anybody that sandblasts truck frames and paints truck frames knows that this lumen stuff, I'm gonna go around for like another 20 minutes just using an air truck trying to blow out all the sand. Even though I've done it out in the lean-to already when we sandblasted it, there's still gonna be about a 5-gallon bucket's worth of sand left in there. So every time I paint a truck frame like this, I plan on my paint booth getting extra dirty. Everything will get pulled out of here and we'll pressure wash the whole booth out when we're done. It's just the way it is, or at least it is for me. I know you guys are professionals and none of this ever happens to you. What we're gonna do right now though, is we're gonna go ahead and use some wax and grease remover, and we're just gonna clean up a little bit in there, because it's not like it's rusty in there. It's not like it needs to be painted in there. This isn't a show truck, but we're gonna clean it up, paint it up a little bit. I don't have enough storage on my phone to time lapse everything. So we're just gonna do that and then you're gonna see it. So I'm just gonna go and clean these up. I know I said I wasn't gonna make another video before I was ready to paint and all, but I just wanted to show, I'll scrape off that grease and needle scale a little bit and clean it. But you really don't have to worry about wheel seals going out when you already have one out. Now, the question is, Josh, are you really gonna change a wheel seal in your paint booth? Of course not. All right, guys, so if you don't see what's wrong here, let me explain. These tabs right here, you're supposed to bend down to lock your set nut, so that way your set nut never like backs out and your inner nut comes loose and you like lose an entire hub with your wheels and everything that's attached to that. None of these are bent down at all. So whoever worked on this truck and replaced this hub did not do this right. Yeah, that's actually pretty bad. Wow. Anyhow, just wanted to show you that. Let's keep going. Boy, that wheel seal about made a fool of me. Normally they just pop right out, but we're gonna go ahead and take this thing over to the parts washer and clean it up. All right, well, we changed the wheel seal. I didn't put this last nut on because I'm missing a washer, and I'm literally gonna look back at this video and see if it had all the washers on it, because I don't know where I would have lost it. I put everything in the tray. Either way, I'm gonna look around when I clean up this mess. If I don't find it, I'm gonna get another little washer and put it on there and finish up the job. So hopefully this is the last mechanical job I'm doing today on this truck. So I didn't get the frame paint yesterday like I said I would. I ran into a bunch of issues, had to work on other trucks. On top of having wheel seals out. It is what it is. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't feel like painting yesterday. I had the time, I just didn't do it. But it is 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna start painting before anybody shows up so I don't have any distractions. I think I just got like 2 or 6 things left to do before I can paint. Nothing that shouldn't take me more than 20, 30 minutes. And let's just get this knocked out of the way. I'm not gonna lie. I hate painting frames. Frames are literally my worst, whatever, thing to paint. I hate them. Let's go over what I'm gonna be using today. I'm gonna be using some Delfleet Essential with some commercial performance coatings, corrosion resistance, epoxy gray. I've used this one a couple times. It's kind of a new sealer for me. But the last couple times that I used it, I really liked it. I'll also be using a DV1 as my paint gun. Normally I use an airless gun for this. I have like the pump and all that good stuff, and it makes a lot less mess and it goes a lot faster. But today I'm actively choosing to punish myself for not getting the paint job done yesterday. So there is that. And I think that it'll look better if I use a normal gun. So, enough talking. Let's get to painting. I mean, it looks pretty good. I didn't video me putting the primers and stuff on because I don't have that much storage on my phone. So I figured I'd save painting it black for the video. So now I'm gonna do a time lapse of that. Hopefully it'll catch the whole thing. But if it all of a sudden cuts out halfway through my painting process, just know I'm not trying to hide anything, okay? I just don't have that much storage. But this all went on really great. 2-3 coats are on here now. It's fairly slick for what it is. So let's get right back into it, guys. All right, well, there's the first coat, guys. I'm not gonna video the second coat. I don't see any reason for it. I mean, you really can't. I don't think you guys can see much anyways where I have the camera, and I'm actually getting like, I'm going crazy because I don't have my phone to listen to music, is the honest truth. So I'm gonna do one more coat exactly like what I just did. That was about a medium coat, I'd say, light to medium. And now I'm just gonna go over it with a good medium coat. Like, it's gonna be pretty wet. And then I'm gonna show you guys the beauty clips of it. I think this is gonna look really good. And just like that, we're done. Let me go turn some more of the lights off so that way I can show you guys how good it looks. I'm just kidding. I think it turned out really nice for what it is. There's some specks in it here and there from sand that came up out of the loom, but that's to be expected. I mean, it isn't like I wash this frame out. Sometimes I'll wash them, but then you end up with so much flash rust that you got to deal with. It's such a pain in the butt. But I think it turned out really nice. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about this. I know everybody's gonna complain about the rust, but I mean, there's 3 coats of sealer, 2 coats of black. If I put Bondo or anything over that, it ends up usually making it rust even more, or even worse, a big section will pop off. So on a work truck, this is what I prefer. Just get all the rust out, clean it all up, repaint it. It's gonna last a long time. Yeah, if I just hit that off a buffer or something, that'd be great. But this gets an APU and all that stuff on the side, so you're never gonna see that stuff. Yes, and this is the paint everything method. What we'll do as soon as everything dries is we'll just go with a file or a flat screwdriver and just, man, that actually turned out really nice. We'll just chip off the paint off the grease zerks and then grease everything, because we degreased this whole truck. We sprayed all the grease out of where grease normally builds up, you know, and then sandblasted it. So we'll want this thing to be fully greased before we drive it anyways. So we'll go ahead and do that right away while everything's easy to get to. We got a lot to put together. We need to get this thing into the other shop. Airbags, shocks, tires, fenders, deck plates, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. It's finally happened. My shop is Kenworth free. Let's go talk about it. It's cold. The truck's outside. It's kind of windy, so I might not have the best audio. So if I show a lot of clips and no talking, just understand that's what happened. But let's go look at this truck. It's not totally done, but it's fairly close. Nothing that I do is ever fully done. It's already gone on like 3 rounds, so it's one of those things I got to work on in between, because the driver's got to drive it. That's what the truck's for. It's being worked. This is the Jimmy Farrell air ride kit for the W900. A lot of people were asking questions about it. Mostly about the spring. This is a 389. I believe it's called an air leaf. It's for the factory Peterbilt air ride. So you got to move your hangers back. I believe it's like 8 inches or something, or 6 inches. I can't remember. This isn't the cleanest. Like things like this was supposed to be painted and somehow got left out of the booth and didn't get painted. So I'm gonna have to touch some stuff up. Everything gets turn in, new bushings on this kit. It gets completely rebushed, repinned, new springs. These airbags have a 1-inch block in here, and you can go up to a 2-inch block, which will bring your Kenworth up to a factory ride height when aired up. So it's a really good kit for somebody that wants factory air ride height with little air pressure in the bag, so that way you get the smoothest ride. And they're super easy to install. Down there is our valve system. Leveling valve gets mounted on a bracket dropping down off of the radiator. Then the rod goes down to a plate that gets fastened with the U-bolts. The stainless steel braided airlines get run through a bulkhead through your frame, and it all looks really clean. Like, this is probably, in my opinion, it's the best kit out there right now. Wow, that's a pretty bold statement to make. Well, let me just give a little background. We've worked quite a bit with air rides. We actually used to make our own, and we have all of these trucks sitting on the Jimmy Farrell air ride kits right now. This is our 2016 glider, 2014 glider. That Kenworth is a glider. That Peterbilt's a glider. I believe that one's an 08. They're all sitting on the Jimmy Farrell air ride kit. And then obviously we also have Arlen's Big Bunk. It's out on the road right now. He's the only one working apparently. I think he's like in Pennsylvania, but that's also sitting on the Jimmy Farrell air ride kit. So we have 5 of our personal trucks sitting on it, and we really like it. I cannot recommend it enough, especially on Peterbilt. Like, it just goes together so easily.